Hi. Thanks for having me. My name is Jama, pronouns they and them. And lightning round, here we go. This is my topic. It might be a little controversial, but I'm just going to say it. I don't think safe spaces are enough. At least they're not enough to change the world. Safe spaces, by definition, are meant to be spaces that are free of bias, conflict, criticism, and potentially threatening ideas or conversations. In safe spaces, there are rules that are designed to minimize conflict and moderate emotional responses. So they came about for a reason, and with good reason, but they've been co-opted over time, and they're not what they used to be. So for queer people, in the 60s, safe spaces were typically gay bars, where people could come together and find community amongst widespread persecution. There were places for practical resistance to political and social repression. So they've played a really important role in the history of social movements, and they can also still be really important places for people with shared identities to come together and find mutual support. But they're not enough as they're used today, for a couple of reasons. The number one reason I think they're not enough is because people have started to confuse uncomfortable feelings with being unsafe, and those two things are not the same. Also, like other spaces, they keep only certain people safe, and those people might be the people that you or I think actually need to be challenged a little bit. To quote the executive director of the Highlander Center, oppression doesn't just go away because we're really good people who love justice. So oppression is also often perpetuated in our safe spaces. Also, when we stay within our comfort zone, we're often sort of stuck in our own echo chamber, which means we're so busy hearing ourselves reflected back to ourselves that we don't take the opportunity to listen deeply to what other people are saying or other people's ideas. And also then our own ideas and experiences are not listened deeply to by people who know absolutely nothing about us. So it's a dangerous practice if safe spaces are all that we use. It's dangerous because it forecloses the opportunity for change. It does nothing to address the structural issues that exist and are the reason why we needed safe spaces to begin with. It does help to maintain the status quo because our spaces, even our safe ones, don't exist within a vacuum, and they're impacted and influenced by the dynamics of the larger world. And that is a dumpster fire in the background of that slide, in case you're wondering. So as a long-term strategy, actually, comfort is unsafe because nobody grows. It prevents growing and learning when faced with difficult situations, and those experiences actually create new neural networks in our brains, like new pathways in our thinking that enable us to adapt. And it's that process of adaptation that has actually enabled us to survive as a species. So we need to get outside of our comfort zones is the point. And what we need then are brave spaces. And let me be clear here. The spaces that queer people, trans people, people of color, immigrants, Muslims, the spaces that we all occupy on a daily basis are pretty much brave spaces always, because it's brave to just exist in our world today as people. But rather than minimizing a conflict and moderating emotional responses like safe spaces do, brave spaces invite us to authentically engage and take risks, and that's everyone. So our job is to show up, to deeply listen, and to engage, and to collectively imagine our way forward. And in order to do that, we have to stop engaging in just polite surface level conversations, which is something I understand as a person raised in the South with the idea of Southern hospitality and being polite. We gotta stop doing that. We have to be comfortable with discomfort. If we do what we've always done, we're gonna get what we've always gotten. And staying within our comfort zone and within our safe spaces, having these kinds of polite interactions is what we've always done. So here's some principles to take with you to begin creating your own sort of brave spaces. Authentically engage as your whole self. Take risks, and that's probably gonna be a little scary. Move through conflict rather than avoiding it altogether, and just expect discomfort. And reframe the idea of discomfort in your mind. Discomfort does not necessarily equal unsafe. And brave spaces then are actually necessary for us to create the kind of change that I think we're all here to find. The repressive regimes win when we can no longer collectively imagine our way forward. And we can collectively imagine our way forward if we create the kind of brave spaces that enable us to show up to deeply engage with one another. Is it gonna be hard? Yep, totally. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but I also don't think any of you are here thinking that the work that you're doing is easy. I think it's great. Thanks.